Welcome to another edition of Bridging the Gap with yours truly, Johnny Angel, and my partner, Byron Nash.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, man, got some fun today, huh?
Yeah, we have a good one.
We
have Kiersten,
do. Kiersten.
from Paging Dr. Moon coming in.
Isn't that great? I get to talk to some of the young folks, right?
Yeah, she's an awesome singer-songwriter. And,
Yes.
it made me think about, lately I've been producing some music for a play.
Yes.
And it made me think about what do I like about a song, what makes me gravitate towards it first. What do you, I mean, I know what you come from and what you love, but usually when you hear a song, is it the lyrics, is it the beat, is it the key, what is it for you?
To me, it's the hook.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like just about. I love background vocals. I said, even though I'm a lead singer, I would much rather sing background harmony. If you ever saw the movie 25 Feet from Stardom,
Oh, I love that movie. I have that
it's
doc.
fabulous, man.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the truth. I mean, once you've done that, you don't want to go back. You want to be where you belong. You know what I mean? So when I hear a song, I hear the harmonies, I hear the backgrounds more than I do the leads. And but when I'm writing a song, or my partner and I, we wrote more commercials than we did songs.
Yeah.
You know, it's just basically the same thing, but it's a hook. You know what I mean? So that lights me up.
For me, it's like, it depends. It could be the groove. Sometimes there's songs I don't even really know the lyrics. I know the tones of the melody and everything, but it's just the music's so good that it kind of pulls me into it. So I don't know, I think I just love songs and music in general, but it just really depends on the genre and how that song, like what's that most gravitational thing that's pulling me into it, you know?
And it's funny you say that. It depends on your moods and the spirit that you're in.
And when you hear it.
Yeah.
I've heard songs where I'm like, I'm not really feeling this band, and then I just heard it at the wrong time.
Yep.
Then years later, I'm like, I was playing around.
And if you're in the same mood that the writer was in, you connect. You know what I mean?
It's true.
But it's so true. I mean, most of the things I ever written, I have binders at home. When I was younger, I used to write. I thought I was a songwriter. You know, I wrote a couple of it. I still have those lyrics, and I look at them, and some of them I'll go like, I know exactly where I was that day.
Yeah, same,
you know,
same.
that kind of a thing.
I've been listening to a lot of old records. Like there was a certain style in the '70s, the way that songs were kind of constructed and written. So I've been going back to a lot of the old '70s artists, which actually brings me to my record of the week.
Oh yeah.
All right, so I've been rocking out with Bootsy Collins, you know, P-Funk, James Brown. If you know about The One, it's all about coming back to that one in the funk groove. And I actually had the opportunity to open for Bootsy Collins at State
that
BE,
right?
yeah.
Nice.
And just thinking about how important the bass line is in music, I think a lot of times, you know, people think bass, they think it's sitting in the back, but it's super important because it's grounding the whole song. And if the bass player hits the wrong note of the key, then
Sure does.
you kind of know.
That chord's
know?
not right then, huh?
Yeah, everything's wrong all of a sudden. So I'm just kind of going back to the old music where the lyrics were really cool, but like the way that they hit the music, you know,
Absolutely.
the pocket, and I don't know, I just love funk music. So
And as a drummer, I appreciate the bass more than anything. I mean, if you don't have a good drummer and bass, you don't have a good band.
yeah,
Period.
yeah, that does make the band for me.
But mine this week, I was listening to, believe it or not, the Mamas and the Papas.
Oh, nice.
And I'll tell you why, because I got to meet Michelle Phillips, and I've worked with her a couple times, and it was kind of cool to see how she's matured as an artist. You know, when you look at when she first came out, and she was the pretty one, she was this and that, but the singer in the group was actually Mama Cass.
Oh yeah, all day.
You know, and I love this because look at the artwork on this too. I mean,
This is why vinyl rules.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely. Just fabulous stuff. So I was listening to some of that stuff, especially Mama Cass and her doing some of her solo stuff, and how she really didn't get her due. You know, they saw her as a member of Mamas and the Papas, where Michelle got her due because she was the pretty one. You know what I mean? And that's how things have changed over the years.
Yeah, that's that old school music business
Yep.
format. What year is this record from?
I would say this is probably. I should probably put my glasses on.
Oh, I just figured you would know.
I don't know, but it's probably around.
Like 67?
Yeah, we say late 60s.
Okay.
Yeah, right before their breakup. Yeah, cool stuff.
Awesome. Well, what do you think about bringing up our guest?
I can't wait to meet Kiersten because I hear a lot about her. I know she's making the scene right now. And I want to talk to her about her background, but also the types of music that she does, you know, what her influences were and so on. So let's take a quick pause and we'll be right back with Kiersten.
Jack in the Box.
Welcome to Jack in the Box, and today we're going to talk about books, great artists. I'm talking about Bob Dylan. This is a thing called the scrapbook, Bob Dylan's scrapbook, and it has so many cool pieces of memorabilia in here about his life, tickets and handwritten notes like that one right there by Bob Dylan. I mean, look, glasses, Bob Dylan. This is just too cool, right? And Bob Dylan, and on this one, he's playing a 4-string bass. I love it. It's Ginchy. Welcome back, and we are sitting here with Kiersten from Paging Dr. Moon. Can't wait to talk with you.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, welcome to the show. So I hear that you got your start in theater, or you have some theater background. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I grew up singing, and my parents actually put me into opera school when I was a child. So I was singing with the symphony and with the Pittsburgh Opera Company when I was little. And then when I went into high school, I did a half-day program at Pittsburgh Musical Theater. So I was only in school for 4 classes, and then I was like, I'm getting out of here. I'm going to go sing and dance.
Nice.
And so I did that full-time. I went to school for theater. I went to Point Park. And then I up and moved to Vegas and performed in Evil Dead the Musical out there for a few years at Planet Hollywood.
Okay.
So that was real fun. And then I moved to New York thinking, you know, I'm going to go audition all the time and all that. And then I was like, oh, this is terrible. I don't want to do this at all. And then I really had already been writing songs and writing music for years and years and years. And then once I got to New York, I was like, all right, that's what I'm doing. Yeah.
So when you left that, was it for good, or was it like a slow transition into becoming like your own artist?
It was sort of my own, like, defiant struggle with myself, because when I got to New York, I got hooked up with this really awesome background agency, so I was working full-time as a background actor. And as a background actor, you have to be as nondescript as possible, and I was working all the time. It was really awesome, like, on a lot of really cool projects, and then I sort of was just like, no, I don't want to be in the background anymore. And then that's when I got my tattoos. And I was like, I'm making myself look like me. I was like, I don't want to do it anymore. So, yeah, it was kind of this big break from it.
So even when you were doing that, were you writing songs, or was it, you were writing songs at the same time and then kind of went full tilt with that?
I started writing songs when I was 18.
Okay.
So it was my freshman year of college. I bought a ukulele and holed myself up in a room and taught myself how to play. And I started writing, and I probably amassed like at least an album's worth of material before I ever even performed one of them live. Wow. So I had written probably at least 15 songs before I ever played one. And then it took me years of writing to feel like any kind of confidence at all that I could put myself out there. So I didn't actually start a band or play with other musicians until I had already been writing for a whole decade.
Oh, wow.
But you hit on something there for me. You didn't have the confidence to do it, right? Mm-hmm. What was it like when you finally tried to introduce it to somebody else to get the same vibe that you wrote? Is that hard?
It was immediate for me.
Oh, okay.
But it was for me, but I think it was because I had spent so much time crafting it, and I literally worked in a basement with no windows and self-recorded 3 full albums before I ever even brought it to another musician. Mm-hmm. So I was just kind of like working on my, like on the grindstone, and just really, I don't know, I think growing up in theater, especially, you know, in the 2000s, it was like they break you down. That was the point of it. They want you to feel bad, and they want you to, like, so that you are the best actor that you can be. And there is value to that. But for me, I wasn't in a mental space as a human being to be able to do that. Right. Yeah. So I needed to do this, like, all for myself, because it was, you weren't encouraged to be yourself or to be unique in that sense. And just growing up as a performer, it was just always, you know, constant. I was being told who to be, how to present myself, what to say. So it took me a really long time to develop that voice for myself. And then, honestly, I was dating this guy, and I was in the basement writing by myself and recording all those albums. And then we broke up, and I was like, I'm starting a band.
Nice.
Was that your first band? Was Paging Dr. Moon?
It was called Kiersten and the Pretty People, and I started it in New York with the idea of working with as many different people as possible so that I could refine my live sound because I didn't know what I was doing. So I always would, when I paid every single person I ever worked with, we never did a show for free.
Yeah.
It was always in the name of exploration and in defining and crafting a sound because I didn't know, like I don't know how to play the drums. I don't know how to play the bass. I needed people so I was working with these people who were like master's degrees from NYU and Berkeley graduates and all these things, and they're playing my songs and they're like, this stuff is hard. Yes, and so that's how I learned how to do it. And it was Kiersten and the Pretty People's mission for me was to like work as expansively as I could to give myself basically like a master's degree in music without having to go into debt, you know?
Yeah.
Like I was like, I need to learn how to really craft this because I'm like a machine for songwriting. I have like hundreds of songs.
That's great.
And I wanted to know how to do it. So I just worked with people that knew how to do it. And I ended up with, I have a spreadsheet of 85 people that were my Kiersten and the Pretty People musicians. And we performed pretty full time for like 2 years in New York, and then COVID hit. And then my best friends were a drummer and a guitarist that I was working with, and that's when Paging Dr. Moon happened. So it was like, I found my sound pretty much.
I like that.
Yeah.
So I'm picturing you in this dark room with no windows and writing. Were you coming from like a lyrical place, or were you coming from like, okay, here's the basis of what I'm playing on guitar, and this is like how I'm going to build? Do you have a system for how you attack your songs?
I really work a lot in the flow state. That's really important to me. I don't write things piece by piece unless I'm struggling with it, and I'll come up with a piece of it, and then I'll put it away and set it aside. But for me, I always say like I throw them up. I throw the song up. So I'll be starting and I'll start with like a riff on guitar or something, and I will just over and over and over and over and over again. And then once the song starts to come, it usually is done within like 10 minutes, and then it's all about editing.
Nice.
So yes, sometimes it'll be a melody and then I'll have to figure out what's underneath it. I've written songs with just a bass line before and then filled in the chords and stuff like that, but it's kind of, if it doesn't come out fully formed, I'm usually just like, I'll put it somewhere else that we'll save for later.
Awesome.
I love it. It reminds me of almost like the Carole King story.
Oh.
I mean,
I love her.
Okay.
Yeah, she's great.
I mean, you think about her when she first broke in up the Brill Building and everything, and she had hundreds and hundreds of songs. And her whole idea was to get other people to understand her feeling what she wrote, and she did it through her music, of course, But
That's kind of what I'm doing. I mean, I've always written out, it's been out of necessity, like for me, because I was just in such a dark space whenever I started like sharing it, but also just like for a long time I've struggled with mental health for my whole life, and I always wanted to like live my mission of songwriting, where I think that if you're as honest and as vulnerable as you can be and you're really expressing yourself in that way, you can heal it and you can change it by taking charge of your own story, and the retelling is what fixes it, and the retelling is how you heal. So I always really wanted to get to a place where I didn't feel like I was like gonna die if I didn't get it out. I wanted it to be something that I was able to do because I want to, and because I'm able to, and then I can share it with other people, and we can all get better. And that's kind of where the idea of Paging Dr. Moon came out of that necessity. So Dr. Moon, I always say, is Dr. Moon is the therapist that lives in my brain that's smarter than me that writes my songs.
I love the name. I think it's such a clever name, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's me just being like, hey, help me out.
That's good.
That actually makes me think we have the rapid fire questions that we like to
Cool.
ask. It's whatever off the top of your head. If you have to vomit up the answer, that'd be great. So it's oh my god, I forgot them.
Something old.
Thank you. Something old, something new. Something treasure, something true. It's been a minute. we'll start with. I'll do something old.
Yes, instead of me doing the old.
Yeah.
Something old. Well, it's not super old, but something that I am trying to bring out more in Pittsburgh is that I do already have a bunch of music recorded and released. So I have a full album out, and I have a second EP, like a follow-up EP to the album, that are already out and available everywhere.
Awesome.
That's great. Something new.
Hey,
No, I said that because this is new.
yeah.
The new is that since moving back to Pittsburgh, I found a full-time band, and some of my closest friends and my partners in my band too, and we are recording 3 new singles together.
Nice.
So it's going to be their sound on top of the songs, but
Super.
yeah.
Something treasured.
My cat.
Your cat.
She's the best thing in the world. I love
Your
her so
cat's
much.
name isn't Moon, is it?
No, her government name is Plum, but I call her Little One or Kitty or,
I love it. And something true.
This is a hard one because I was like, where do I go with that? I just kind of like spilled my guts. We'll go something weird. I just like hate metal being on my skin, and I have a phobia of jewelry.
Oh,
really?
Yeah, yes, I don't like it. I don't want it to touch me. I don't want to do anything. I don't like it.
I love it. With that said and done, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to do a little jam session. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Be right back.
Yo, welcome to Byron's Bodega. Today, I'm going to take you on a flashback train. So back in the day, record labels would release box sets. Look at all this material that it would take to put this out. But what was nice, it would be like a compilation of an artist's work, maybe their whole catalog, this, that, and the other. In the 90s, the reason why I have this one centered is because Metallica, who they're kind of up there when it comes to merch and everything, they put out this live binge and purge, which was VHS. I know I'm dating myself, it's okay. But the packaging is incredible. And that's what I really love about music and art, like how they work together. Here's the live concerts, here's the VHS of 3 concerts, plus like, I think there's like a behind the scenes one, then there's like a nice book for the fans. This thing is built like a road case, so if you're a musician, you know exactly what it is. But then all of these things are the same thing. Richard Pryor, or this is James Brown, we got Richard Pryor, I got Earth, Wind & Fire, I got Hendrix. And so say you don't have the catalog of every individual record that the artist put out, box sets were nice because it compiled all of that into one compact thing.
Worrying won't make you smarter. It's turning fell off.